one of the most difficult things that dentists deal with on a daily basis, I believe, is direct restorations, direct resin restorations. And I think the challenge with it is that there's every lesion's different, every patient's different, every working environment's different, every expectation is a little different. And then a lot of it has to do with the technique sensitivity of the materials that we work with.
So we're talking technique sensitivity. I think the reasons to why it is such a complex aspect to us is because there's so many little steps that we have to kind of run into and make sure that we're giving direct importance to. You can't skip one or diminish your protocol for a particular step because that can dramatically affect the success rate of anything that you're actually doing, correct?
Absolutely.
All right, let's be honest. Sometimes dentistry can be hard. And for something as basic as direct restorations, composite fillings, and things like that, we notice that we struggle. And we're not quite sure why, because the dental industry is trying to find ways to make it easier on ourselves. Well, I got to sit down with Dr. Marc Lai on the Disruptive Dental Science podcast, and he walked me through a system through Solventum that helped to allow for his overhead to be reduced, his color selection to be simplified, and in truth, make his job and his day-to-day processes much simpler. So if you'd like to understand how he did it, listen in. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Disruptive Dental Science podcast. I, Dr. Ashton Prince, get to be your host once again, and I am joined by a fellow colleague and dental advisor E, Dr. Marc Lai. Marc, if you wouldn't mind, tell these people who you are, my man.
Dr. Marc Lai. I am a restorative dentist practicing in San Francisco. I sit on the editorial board for the Dental Advisor, as well as serving as a clinical ambassador, and I'm always, as always, happy to be here.
I love it, buddy. We've been talking in the past about ways to try and find better ways to improve our protocols and our systems in our offices. We've noticed, sadly, that for some of the most basic treatments that we do, and I'll talk specifically about direct restoratives, that they should be simple. I mean, we're practicing them all the time, yet they still seem to be the most frustrating, most difficult processes that we have in our office. So, Mike, I'm gonna ask you as we start kind of getting into a conversation here is, why do you think that something like direct restoratives is such a difficult thing for us to do in our practice?
Jump right into it, huh?
Amen. I'm gonna rip that Band-Aid right off. Let's go.
That's right. All right, let's get it. So dentistry is incredibly difficult, from just doing the dentistry to being a practice owner to managing staff to managing clinical operations, the business side of it, everything. But one of the most difficult things that dentists deal with on a daily basis, I believe, is direct restorations, direct resin restorations. And I think the challenge with it is that there's every lesion's different, every patient's different, every working environment's different, every expectation is a little different. And then a lot of it has to do with the technique sensitivity of the materials that we work with.
So we're talking technique sensitivity. I think the reasons to why it is such a complex aspect to us is because there's so many little steps that we have to kind of run into and make sure that we're giving direct importance to. You can't skip one or diminish your protocol for a particular step because that can dramatically affect the success rate of anything that you're actually doing, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if that's the case, then I am going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot here for a second. What is it that you look for yourself when you're trying to select your materials that you are dealing with in these restorations?
Certainly how things handle from a clinical standpoint. I'm looking at companies that I've had either the pleasure of working in this clinical setting with Dental Advisor, or just things that I've worked with over the course of my career that I know give me good, reliable, predictable results.
Yeah, gives you confidence with them as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we've recently within Dental Advisor, we've kind of had you doing a little bit more of a dive into a number of different products and materials and different things like that. Is there anything specific recently that you've been working with that you kind of wanted to call out on a process that you think this is really working well for my office?
When it comes to resin composites, or just
you can go with anything, but let's go direct for this.
Direct for this, I mean, the 3M Easy Match system has been awesome.
Okay.
That's something that we've been working with Dental Advisor for, a few months now. It's just been a pleasure working with them, and the products, they speak for themselves, which is great.
Yeah, they truly do. So you said that the things that you're looking for is handling is one of the big ones. Are there any other aspects to your material selection that you actually are looking at and saying, I want for my material to work well for me in my own particular practice? I want it to do this, or I want it to do that.
the simplicity of certain things, how a product can really make the clinical situation a lot easier. It can increase my predictability, my efficiency. Those are all things that I look for in a product. You're always asking me the questions. What's something that you look for in a restorative material?
Well, for me personally, that's fairly simple. I want to have predictable results. I want to be able to know that what I'm using is going to be something that is a long-term, reliable material. I want it to be something that as I'm placing it, that I can say, I know exactly how to use this because I know exactly how this is going to respond. Now, that's in the material itself. Now, within dentistry in the field, we're realizing that companies, there's so many different types of composite and different things that are out there, different bonding agents and curing lights and everything else. Why in the world is it they're actually trying to come out with all these different renditions? Well, personally, I firmly believe that we've already talked about how it's very difficult for a direct restoration to be accomplished every single time because it is very technique sensitive, right? So if that's the case, what is it that the industry itself, what is dentistry looking for to try and improve for us as clinicians to making our lives easier? Well, we've noticed that overhead these days is getting to be ridiculous. All of the cost it is for our bonding agents, for our materials, it's way up there. So we're starting to see things like simplified shades. We're seeing even mono shades that are out there. They're trying to find ways to minimize the overhead that we have. Now, the other aspects to it as well is, as we're utilizing these, now we're talking about universal composite. It can be used in any situation, any location, from a class 1 to a class 6, all the way through. And a lot of them are even utilizing composites with warmers and things like that to be used as basically like cements, resin cements. So why is it that the industry itself is trying to do this kind of stuff for us? It's because we as clinicians are demanding more of our materials. So within Solventum, I mean, you've been working with them recently. You said that you really have liked their process. You've recently written an article for Dental Advisor that's talking about a very specific case that you were kind of going through. Can you kind of walk us through a little bit about what you experienced?
Well, my history with 3M, or formerly 3M, now Solventum, same company.
Yeah.
Want to make sure that's clear to all the viewers out there. I've actually been working with 3M since my career started. Going in second generation dentist, going into practice. The entire practice that my father started was all 3M. And just, backstory about my own teeth. I've had these ClinPro pink to opaque sealants in my mouth for close to 30 years, and they're holding up. So I've got a lot of history with 3M or Solventum now. It's been a nice opportunity to work with the company. So I want to put that out there first.
Talking about the actual case that you were putting together and how you kind of brought things like, what was your case selection? Why is it that you chose to use this particular material with it? And how did it handle as you were working with it?
Well, it was a difficult case. It was a class 2 composite. It had an existing composite restoration on there with some recurrent caries that was under the existing filling. It was a tooth that had kind of multiple shades to it. It had some dentin discoloration at the base of the cavity. It had some decalcification spots on the tooth itself. I wanted to use this product and see how well it did with the tooth that did have some challenging characteristics to it as far as the color and the surface texture and all that. So the Easy Match system, it comes in the bright, comes in the neutral, comes in the warm. It really handled itself well, and it had the same handling properties and the same handling characteristics as a lot of the other Filtek products. When you're talking about the Supremes, the Filtek One bulk fill, it really handled this similar way, and the results were incredibly aesthetic.
Tell me a little bit more about the simplified shading for it then. You said that it was a bright, a neutral, and a warm, things like that actually are kind of guiding you to making it a little easier for you to select what shade to use, because it can be difficult. I mean, is it an A2? Is it a C2? Is it maybe an A1 in this portion of things? Did it actually simplify your ability to pick your shade?
Absolutely. So they have this little card, and there's like an IFU thing. You love IFUs, I know that's your.
Nobody reads them, but I love them.
So it has a little guide card of like, okay, these shades go under this and this, these shades go under this shades. You can look at that as a guide, but I'm still going to go through my clinical process of extruding just a little bit of composite and curing it on the tooth, and then running it through a little system that I have to make sure that it is the correct shade.
And are you going to see that as a little bit of a variance depending on the actual depth for it? I mean, if it's a little thicker for the restoration itself, does that seem to change color to you at all? If you're putting just a little bit onto the actual tooth, for the most part, it's a very thin layer that you're putting over the top, and sometimes that translucency can show through, and it might not give you a full rendition of what it's actually going to be after it's cured. So do you find that to be a hindrance at all?
Well, not with this product, because one of the things with this product in particular is it has this really great masking effect, and it touts its ability to have this opaqueness, this opaquer in it. So I mean, if you look
Yeah.
at some of the older products with 3M, they had this universal Filtek material a couple years back that came out that came with a separate blocker.
Yes.
For those, yes, you remember that. It's like the pink blocker. This one, it can be used without the blocker, and that's one of the things where 3M is really trying to push for as far as people adopting this particular product.
Yeah. Well, Solventum's recently been coming out with things like warmers or different things for their composites to try and allow for a little bit more of some wall adaptability or some flow, changing the viscosity a little bit of the material. Did you find that warming your materials was a benefit? Was it a hindrance? What was your experience with that?
So it's always a benefit for me. I have some history with composite warming. I've always had the added calcet warmer in the office. I've used some of the other warmers on the market, the BioClear one, the C warmer, the C warmer plus. It's a small Korean brand that came out with a warmer a couple years back. So I've had experience with composite warming. I really do enjoy it. I do think it does certainly increase the handling aspect of the composite. And there's a lot of science out there about whether or not it helps with depth of cure, or, does it help with monomer conversion, that kind of thing. It's called the Filtek Composite Warmer. It only works with the Filtek materials because just the size of the capsules fit directly into, it looks like a little revolver type of apparatus. And it's got a little slot for the flowables as well. So it is designed specifically to be used with Filtek composites. But it's a great warmer. It's really quick. Turn it on in about 2 minutes. The thing heats up to the necessary temperature.
Okay. So here's going to be a little bit of a loaded question, but I think you can handle this one. If you
Sure.
do have someone that is dealing with some issues with their restorations, a lot of the times it's because they're not following the IFUs and, the proper steps and things like that. I get that, and I understand that. But if there's someone that's having some concerns and some issues with things, they usually are going to start looking for a different material. Why would you make the suggestion potentially for them to be looking into the Solventum system here to potentially transition towards using something a little different than what they've had in the past?
I think the name, I think the company and the brand speaks for itself. You look at the industry, and I can't remember the exact numbers that Solventum gave us, but by and large, they share the biggest market share of composites used. And
Substantially, yeah.
Substantially, yeah. And it's in the name. I had a friend who worked with 3M, Solventum, back in the day when I first started in dentistry. And one of the things he mentioned to me was they're a multi-billion-dollar business, 3M is. So they have the money and the resources to invest in the R&D, to really develop and innovate. And so I think that's a really important piece there. There was another person in the industry who would always tell me, if you think about Filtek, they've changed their formula so many different times. And in my mind, it's like they have the means to do it, and they're always doing the best to come up with the best research and to put forth the best product with innovation. So I think that's something I would tell them.
And it's commendable. I mean, they've changed it a number of times. Great. They've learned.
For a reason. They want to get better. They're trying to get better.
It's
right?
exactly it. It's to benefit us. One of the main things I love about working with dental advisors, we get to see companies try and innovate, that they're trying to find ways to make it better for everybody. If we're being very honest, then yeah, they're trying to make money on their side of things by providing a product for it. But they understand that we as clinicians, we understand what we're looking for. We understand what we're doing. So to be able to provide us with products that are usable, that are functional, that are tried and true with companies like Solventum is. I applaud every single company that does their very best to try and improve what we do on a day-to-day basis. So as we go through a company like Solventum, we're talking about a very difficult aspect of direct restoratives for something that's very technique sensitive, that is very difficult to do at times. I'll be very honest. As I look at my schedule, if I see a bunch of class twos all day long, I'm going to see if I can stub my toe and have to go home earlier than what I normally have to do.
It's just that's one thing that, it's one of those things where if you pull 10 dentists, a quadrant of direct composites, class 2 composites in particular, show up that's on that schedule, you're in for a day. I put in a full arch yesterday, and I'd rather do that 100 times over than a whole quadrant of class 2 composites.
However, the one kick that we're getting into these days is that we're realizing that there is a massive push towards being conservative in our restorations and in our procedures and the processes, which means that not every tooth is a crown. There actually is the ability to do some fillings and things that are going on because it's essential to what we do as clinicians. So if we're looking for materials that are going to work well, if we're going to work with companies that we know have our best intentions, in mind, then all of that really does kind of point towards a company like Solventum. I've been using them in my practice ever since I started almost 20 years ago, and I haven't had an issue with them. So when we say that you kind of start to push towards something else because you're having concerns or problems with it, to be honest with you, on my side of things, I haven't made the switch yet. So far, so good. And it kind of sounds like you're in the same boat.
Same boat.
Yeah,
100%.
beautiful. Well, Dr. Lai, thank you very much for
Dr.
spending a little
Prince.
time with me and talking about materials like this. Now,
Very
regarding materials like companies like Solventum, materials that they've come out with, or others that we want to start making comparisons to, if you're looking for some information on different things that you can look into to improve your own practices and procedures there in your own offices, jump onto the Dental Advisor website. It's as simple as www.dentaladvisor.com. You can find all sorts of evaluations, resources, podcasts like this, different locations in which we're going to be doing some lectures live that we'd love to have you come out for. So if you'd like to find out kind of where Dr. Lai and I are going to be, jump onto the website and come and ask the questions that you have, find ways to make your journey a little bit more enjoyable as you go through. I mean, it's your career that you selected. You might as well make it entertaining as you go along. So Dr. Lai, once again, thanks for joining me, buddy.
Thank you, Ashton.
We will see you guys the next time around. Have a good one.
Cheers.